First of all, we don't have any controller, so I'll just generate one controller, G controller, and then we're going to call it secrets, and then add just one action index. So we should have this controller defined over here, and just return some data. So render JSON, and then status 200. Just going to say message very secret. Yeah, so that's it. In our routes we should have it over here, so secret index. Yeah, so let's try it out first in our browser, in Postman. So localhost 3000, that's going to call in secrets, going to work index. Yeah, so secrets index. So we are getting this. You notice that Warden is not working, right? But we've configured it. So the reason being, Warden, in order to use Warden will not work unless you tell it to work. So let's tell it to work. Go back into our controller. Let's define, so we need to define a filter that will trigger Warden to authenticate the request. So we'll just say, let's define the authenticate user, and then request dot env. So whenever you configure, because we configured Warden middleware, it will automatically add Warden inside the request, and then just going to call authenticate, so that we can trigger now authentication, and then to fetch the current user, just going to do the same, request dot env Warden dot user, and that's all that we need. Still Warden won't work, we must call this method. So let's go to our secrets controller and then define user filter before action authenticate user, enter. Now before this action is rendered, this will be called. So let's try it now. Yes, we are getting internal server error, JSON pass errors. So our error application trace inside authenticate. So let's see why we are getting this error. Line 51. Interesting. I think I know the reason why. Let's try body row. I think it's because you are trying to decode JSON body that does not exist. So let's just say secret equals to nothing. Yeah, so we need to have this. It was trying to find this body and it was getting nothing, so that's why it was failing. So right now we just passed nothing and we are getting authentication failure. What if we pass a valid password? So very secret, we submit. Yeah, we get now our message very secret. Let's add more data in order for it to be more clear. Let's say data, just say first an array, Okay. 1, 2, 3, and then yeah. So do you see now? If we should change this, it will fail by default. So this, do you see this message authentication failure? So this is being handled by our failure application. So this, whenever in, if we call fail over here, this is what will be called. So this is rack compatible and it's valid. It's a valid rack application. Um, in more in a more you can be more complex and use a controller. You can have your controller like dev uh, invalid authentication, invalid auth, and then just render something be more, maybe you want to add more data from the application. So there's a way that you can do that, but you're not going to do this for now. But if you want to know how, just let me know in the comments so that I can also prepare. You can get more complex on this application and actually define an, an authentication controller that will handle failed authentication. So we are not. So if you want, we will get away with this and use that controller. So if you really need, if you think you really need to learn on how to do that, just let me know and I'll be happy to prepare for that. So yeah, but this is it for now. We've been able to authenticate requests, but this is not a very nice way. So this was just to show you. Ideally, when working with API only application, you might want to pass your headers, yeah, maybe API token or X API key like this, and then pass in your token over here, and then handle it here in your authenticate. But you're not going to do that again for now. That if you want to do, if you think you really need to learn about it, just let me know and I'll be happy to prepare for that as well. Now, what about the current user? So how do we get the current user? uh, Inside here, let's assume, because we don't have a user model right now, I'm just going to create a simple hash, and so that you can see how we are going to get the currently authenticated user in our controllers. Now you can say user equals to let's say name YouTube. So just pass in success with your user object with whatever value you want to pick in your controller as the currently authenticated user. So in order for us to do that, so let's say user, then access our current user method that we defined in the application controller. So request.env. So whenever you call success with an object or a value, that value Warden will treat that value as the currently authenticated user. So if we add a model, it would have said user dot find maybe by ID that we've extracted from the request or the headers of the decoded JWT token, and then passing that user object. But since we don't have that, we are going to work with this for now. So let's see if we are going to have that user. We'll start my server. Cool. So let's make a request. Oh yeah, let's add T. Yeah, so you see user name equals to YouTube. and this is what we passed in our response here, response body. Yes, so that's it for this tutorial. It's very basic, but I hope you've learned something, you've known how in a nutshell how Warden works and how you can integrate it into your application. Yes, so just commit this code in case you want to have a look at it, and just push it to my GitHub repo and share the link on the description. Okay, so let's do this and git commit integrate Warden 101 git push master. Cool, so that's it guys. I hope you've learned something. Bye.